Uh-oh, you know what that sound means. It means it's lunch talk time.
Welcome to the all-new Lunch Talk Show with Mike and Starr Carter.
This show will discuss relationship, family, celebrity news, and much, much more.
So stay tuned, because you never know what the Lunch Talk crew is serving up every Friday. What's up, Lunch Talk family? We are back with an all-new Lunch Talk with Mike and Starr. So how you doing today, Mr. Carter?
I'm doing great, doing wonderful. Warrior Shay Lunch Talk family.
All right, so we got a lot going on. This is going to be part 2 of our criminal domestic violence awareness that we're doing on the show. So hopefully you guys had the chance to check out part 1, where I talk about what I went through in a violent relationship with my first marriage. So we're going to continue that conversation today. But before we get into that conversation, if you're new to the show, we appreciate you tuning in. As always, thanks a lot. We appreciate all the love. And so what we do, the first part of the show, we do something called the interesting tidbit. And that's like our appetizer part of the show that my husband kicks off. So what you got today for our interesting tidbit?
Well, just keeping right on with the subject that we've been doing for the last show. This one is why domestic violence varies by authenticity. How you say this again? How you say this?
Oh, ethnicity.
Yeah, that word, what she said.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's
by your color, race, or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So, guys, just in case you didn't know, I'm gonna give you a little insight on what we've been talking about for the last show, and what we're gonna continue on this show. Okay, the article reads as follows: Black and Hispanic couples are 2 to 3 times more likely to report male to female and female to male partner violence than white couples. And alcohol plays a role in the increased risk of violence, especially among blacks. Okay, that's what we was telling y'all on the last show. It's very, prevalent in our community, what they call the African American community. So let's continue. It is probably not surprising that the statistics concerning intimate partner violence very widely, from study to study and from year to year. Interpersonal violence is not a topic either the victim nor the perpetrator is eager to reveal. In some cases, they say it could be embarrassing to talk about for both, the person that's doing it and the person that's receiving the abuse. Therefore, intimate partner violence is probably vast underreported, and the actual percentage reported in research surveys can vary widely from study to study. So, as we were saying in the other show, domestic violence is very prevalent in the Hispanic and the black community other than whites. And they saying that alcohol plays a very important role in that. And, which makes sense because, alcohol does, get the attitude a little, riled up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that was just, I wanted to get that little article out there to bag up what we were saying that, in our community, African American community, and the Hispanic community, it's a large number, guys. It's a large number, and in white communities, it's only like 10%. Yeah. Black communities is 70%. Hispanic communities comes in at 65%, but white communities is only at 10 to 20%. Mm-hmm. It's sad, but hey, that's the world we live in.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's the world we live in.
When you hear the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. And black community, guys, we need to do better as a people, man. And like the article said, it's just not male on female, it's female on male as well. And the article also goes so far as to say, in 1995 to 2010, the rate actually went down a little bit. You know why? Because people, the police started taking people to jail. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter male or female. They started that new law. If they get called out on a domestic violence dispute, guess what? Somebody got to go to jail. Mm-hmm. And they started that in 1995. Mm-hmm. And it went through 1995 to 2010. The rate went down 65%. Mm-hmm. It went down. But after 2010, it shot back up again because I guess people stopped caring about going to jail. But 1995 to 2010, the rate actually went down because when they enforced that law, if an officer comes out for domestic violence, it's no such thing as nobody going to jail. Somebody's going to jail. Somebody's going to jail. Yeah. So they said the study shows that, therefore, they don't know if it actually dropped or people just stopped reporting it because they didn't want their mates or whatever to get in trouble and go to jail. You understand? So we did have a little a slow point there from 1995 to 2010, but after 2010, shot right back up again. Yeah, sad.
Yeah, really sad. So, before I get too deep into this conversation, because we could run very long again, I don't want to elaborate too much right now in this part of the show, because I did want to talk about the soup and the salad. So, which don't have anything to do with the main dish topic, about the criminal domestic violence. So before I get too far into it, I'm pause on what you said about the alcoholic, but about the alcohol playing a role in it. I'm going to pick back up with that in the main dish.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm not commenting on what you're saying. I just don't want to, not have nothing to talk about when I get to the main dish, because that's a part of my story too. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. You got anything else?
No, that'll do it.
All right. Thank you so much for your interesting tidbit. Like I said, I'm going to comment some more about the interest tidbit in the main dish topic. So guys, we're going to get to the soup and salad. My very, very, very exciting part of the year. This is like Christmas time to me, and that is the Super Bowl.
All right, Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl 54 is this Sunday, February the 2nd.
February 2nd, yes.
Super Bowl 54, and they're going to be hosting down in Miami. They're going to be hosting Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers.
Let's go Chiefs. Let's go Chiefs.
So, I don't do the interesting tidbits, but I did find some interesting information about the Super Bowl that I want to share with you all. Because a lot of people don't realize, how the Super Bowl even came to be, how it got its name, and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was really interesting to share with our listeners today. Some of y'all that are football fans, and even if you're not, everybody likes the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Everybody watch Super Bowl.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you're not a football fan, the Super Bowl is one of the most funnest things. I feel like it's Christmas for me, because even though I'm not getting any presents, I just love the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. So I love it, too. It's just, like you say, it's just about, fellowshipping, sitting around, having fun, talking trash, especially if your team made it. My goodness.
Man, if Baltimore had a win, good God, you wouldn't be telling me nothing.
Trash
you wouldn't be telling me nothing. Well, this Super Bowl 54 is going to kick off Sunday, February the 2nd, 6:30 Eastern. It's going to be on Fox. So Fox is going to be broadcasting it. And the Kansas City Chiefs, y'all, if y'all didn't know, Kansas City has not been to a Super Bowl since 1969. It has been 50 years, because we're at Super Bowl 54. They have not won since Super Bowl 4. They went Super Bowl 1 and lost against Green Bay. But they have not won since Super Bowl 4. And when they won, guess what? It was called AFL NFL World Championship game. It wasn't even called the Super Bowl last time they won.
Throwing Kansas City. I know I'm pulling for y'all now. Y'all got to do something.
Y'all got to win.
Y'all got to do something.
One.
Shoot, I know we ain't been in a minute. We've been since 2007, but good God, 50 years.
And the 49ers hadn't won since the 80s. They won in 1981, 84, 88, 89, and 94. So they were the most successful team in the 1980s. So they have not won a Super Bowl in the new millennium. So,
well, still, I got to have Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, because
either one of them
they started it off. Good God.
Yeah, they started it off.
Whiz.
And yeah, and the reason why that they call it the Super Bowl is because in 1966, the established National Football League announced that it would merge with the upstart American Football League, and the contest between the league winners was for years called some variation of the AFL NFL World Championship game. The NFL knew it needed a catchier name. So legend goes that one owner aforementioned, Lamar Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs suggested Super Bowl because his children love the Super Bowl, a bouncy and popular toy for that time.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, but it was
okay.
His kids.
Yeah, I know.
love
I would just say
the
Super Bowl. Yeah, okay.
But he
Super
said bowl.
Yeah,
was it was more catchy than ball because he was thinking about Super Bowl because of his kids liking the toy, but Super Bowl. But the name, true origins are may not be completely clear, but they're giving it to Mr. Lamar Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs back then. And also I had read that the term bowl, you have the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and all that. Well, in 1914, when the very first stadium was built for the I think it was for the one of those college teams. It escapes me now. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, it was named a bowl, and that's the reason why the stadiums that host the Super Bowl is in that bowl shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
I want to say one of them Ivy League schools.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't think of it. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. I hate when that happens. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Yale.
So it was like Duke Yale?
Okay. Yale. That's what it was. It was Yale. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
So, Jennifer Lopez and Shakira are going to be our halftime performers. It's going to be very interesting seeing. You got two pop icons. Shakira is Colombian and Jennifer Lopez is Puerto Rican and Bronx. So you got your two Latino performers that's going to be performing for us for the Super Bowl. This is the first Super Bowl halftime show since the NFL and Jay-Z announced their partnership last year, including having the rapper and his agency Roc Nation co-produce the event. So...
Boy, that kid know he doing big stuff, man. Dude, love him or hate him.
I know, right?
That dude is off the chain.
Yeah. So,
he's off the chain.
So
I mean, I give him his props, dude. I hate his rap because I don't like his style, but his business sense, man. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I mean, my hat's off to you, bro.
All right.
Man.
Another interesting fun fact, how did Super Bowl commercials become a thing? After Apple's famous 1984 ad, the value of the 30-second spots exploded. Last year, they reported sold for north of 5 million each and will be seen by more than 112 million viewers. So in 1984, Apple back then was the first one. When they kicked off their ad, it's been on and popping for the ads ever since then.
Oh yeah, I love those little ads though. It's because they are so crazy. You know what I mean? That's what everybody look forward to.
They look forward to the ads.
That is so crazy.
Pretty penny on.
Oh
those
yeah,
ads.
I know. Oh yeah.
And which two teams do you think has the most Super Bowl wins?
Talking about in history,
Mm-hmm.
I would say Dallas. I would say Dallas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the two most won Super Bowls is the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers for 6 each.
So Dallas ain't got 6.
Mm-mm.
I thought Dallas was up. I thought Dallas had about 6.
Yep, it says 12 franchises have never even been to the Super Bowl or won the Super Bowl. 4 teams have never appeared at the Super Bowl. That was the Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions, Houston Texans, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have never appeared at the Super Bowl. 8 teams have played in at least one Super Bowl, but they lost. Minnesota Vikings, 4. Buffalo Bills, 4 times. Cincinnati Bengals, 2 times. Carolina Panthers, 2 times. Atlanta Falcons, 2 times. Los Angeles Chargers, once. Tennessee Titans have gone once, and Arizona Cardinals have gone once, but they have not won. Mm-hmm. So, and the person that's singing the national anthem this time, I don't know her or him. I guess it's a her, Demi Lovato. And I'm good with music. I don't recall any music from this person. So
I have no idea who that is.
No, who that is either. But anyway, how much is a ticket to the Super Bowl for this year? The average ticket price for the ticket to the Super Bowl is between $4,000 and $5,000 according to SeatGeek.com. The cheapest tickets on the secondary market were more than $3,000 before Sunday's game, but prices for better seats were many multiples of that. So when they say many multiples of 3,000, you do the math. Many multiples of that. So
I'd rather watch it on TV.
I ain't gonna lie. That's one of the things that is on my bucket list, babe. I want to go to a Super Bowl game. Before I leave this earth, I hope I get blessed to be able to go to a Super Bowl game.
I hear you, but
I'm serious. I
me,
would love to go.
Personally, I'd rather watch on TV. I'm not paying no $3,000 for no seat. That's crazy. But like I say, hey, more power to you. I hope you be able to go.
That would be on my bucket list. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would love to check out a game. Well, that's it for the Super Bowl. So in the NFL's 100 seasons, the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers, they would balance it off in Super Bowl 54.
And all you sports fans out there, don't fret. Once Sunday game is over, guess what? Football has not left us yet. We got a new league coming in, the XFL. And for all you people that know, the XFL started back in the late 90s, early 2000s, or the mid 90s with Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon is the president of the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess they have new owners, or Vince McMahon is bringing it back. So guys, be on the lookout for it. Be on the lookout for the XFL. I really don't know the dates right now. I'm just throwing it out there because I want you guys to be on the lookout for it, because last time I watched it, one of their main players had went to the NFL. He hate me. If you guys knew that guy in the NFL, that's where he came from, the XFL. So they have very talented players out there, guys. So
okay,
hey,
so I got
make
the TV
sure you be on the lookout for the XFL. All my sports fans.
So week 1 of it is Saturday, February the 8th, Seattle at DC. 2 p.m. Eastern, and LA at Houston at 5 p.m. Eastern, ABC and Fox respectively. That's where you're gonna catch those games. Also, they got Sunday, February the 9th, Tampa Bay at New York at 2 p.m. on Fox, and St. Louis at Dallas at 5 p.m. on ESPN. So that's your 2020 TV schedule for week 1. XFL, it's gonna be, I can't wait. I've never seen the XFL. I know you said it used to be around, so I can't wait to see how that go down. You said it, they're a little rough though, the regular NFL, right? Like the what you call, like the penalties and all that stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they're a lot more rougher. It's a smaller field. It's not actually 100 yards. It's a lot different. It's almost like the indoor arena football type thing, but it's very entertaining, guys. I want you guys to check it out because I enjoyed it when I saw it way back in the, like I said, late 90s, early 2000s, or mid 90s, or whenever Vince McMahon did. I don't know the actual time, but it was back then. He started it way back then. So, guys, hey, check it out. It's going to be very exciting. I think it'll be worth your time, especially if you're a football fan. It ain't going nowhere yet, guys.
Okay, so it's got 10 weeks, I see. I can't wait to check it out to see who I can actually root for, and see what team I can actually pull for. This is going to be very good. I'm excited. All right, so you got anything else, babe, before we move on to the main dish topic?
All right, let's do it.
All right, so guys, thanks again for tuning in. So we're about to go into the main dish. So before we get into the main dish topic, we're going to take a really quick commercial break. All right, Lunch Talk family. So we are back from the commercial break. We appreciate you tuning in. So we're going to continue the conversation with part 2 of the criminal domestic violence awareness show that we are doing. And because I have firsthand experience, along with my husband, he was not a perpetrator, but he was, I don't like to use the term victim, but he also have experienced it. So it's a conversation that we can have without being a person that not had any experience, because we always try to talk about things on the show that we feel like we can talk about and actually have experience with it. Is that the good way to say it, babe?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because we don't want to talk about stuff. I mean, even if we do talk about it, it's always good to have at least firsthand experience and not always be the outside looking in person, So anyway, did you want to continue with the Q&A, or how did you want to do this second part?
Well, I'll just pick right back up where we left off at. On the last show we left off, you guys were at Applebee's. You took your son out, and he actually made a physical threat about he thought you was looking at someone, and you guys had to leave. because of the physical threat that he said. So we want to pick up from there. So you guys went home, and, just tell us a little bit about that night after you guys left Applebee's.
Well, it kind of had got to a point. I can't say exactly when that happened in the relationship. Like I said, past the 9th day of the marriage, it kind of was downhill from there, to be honest with you all. It was kind of like routine. If we went out, usually 9 times out of 10, he was going to show out because he thought I was looking at somebody or whatever in his mind. And what I said about, and the interesting tidbit about the alcohol was always a part of it for him. It had got to the point where I didn't drink because I needed to be on my A game almost all the time. So he was a big drinker, very big drinker. So I didn't feel comfortable drinking with him because I didn't need to be, inebriated in that type of situation that I was in, because I never knew when I was going to have to defend myself, and not just in verbal conversation, but physically. I never knew when I was going to have to protect myself, or not necessarily my son, because he never really showed that much in front of my kid. But I never really wanted to, I couldn't enjoy myself with him. I like to have a few drinks, that, but I could never enjoy myself with him. How would you feel being with somebody that you constantly got to be on your P's and Q's because you don't know what's going to set this person off? You know what I'm saying? You don't know what little bit is going to set that person off. So even if you do try to relax and have a good time with your family and your friends, you never know what's going to set this person off. And so I never could really relax. And that was my husband. That was my husband, not able to relax. And that was a very, very dark time and space for me. But then when I thought about it, I watched my mom go through the exact same thing with my stepfather when I was younger. My mom lived down here, and at the time we were still living in Baltimore, and I was living in Baltimore with my grandmother. And my mother married a man that was from here, from South Carolina. And at the time, my family didn't know that my mama was going through a domestic violence situation. My brother was down here with my mom, and the first time I witnessed it, I probably was at least 7 or 8 or somewhere in that neighborhood. I was under 10, I know. And my mom was very sweet, very humble, and my stepfather would come home drunk and jump on my mother. And that was the first time that I witnessed that. He would get off work, go whatever, do whatever with his chick or whatever, and then come home slap pissy drunk and then want to jump on my mom. That was my very first time ever experienced domestic violence. And I didn't even live with my mom. I was just down here visiting for the summer and witnessed it. And that's when I had told my grandmother at the time, what I seen. And I think if I didn't tell my grandmother, or if it had not became known, I don't think my mama would have told. I really don't. And it goes back to what you said about unreported cases. And so many times that women and men that go through domestic violence situations that they don't report, because it was several times that my ex-husband did those things to me, and I didn't call the law on him first jump. I didn't. I'd be sitting here lying to you all if I told you the first time he choked me in the floor, the 8th day of our marriage, after we got back from our honeymoon, did I call the law? No, I called my brother. I called his brother to come and get him. Called my brother to protect me. No, I didn't call the police. I should have, but I didn't. I did not. And the second or the third or the fourth instance, I did not call the law. I didn't. Why? I can't tell you why I didn't call her. I thought I loved him, for one thing. And I wouldn't say I was weak-minded. I was a person that really was praying and hoping that this person would change. That's what I was praying and hoping. I mean, I had took this person to church, hoping that the church would help change him. Letting him talk with the pastor. We even got baptized together. You know what I'm saying? And hoping that he would see that, hey, I married you. You the only person that I want to be with. So why is it always an issue with you thinking that I'm trying to be with some other guy? You know, I worked in a town at the time that was 15 to 20 minutes away from where we lived at. And he automatically assumed that in the 15 to 20 minutes that it took me to drive from the bank that I worked at that time back home, that I had enough time to sleep with somebody. That's the level of insecurity, jealousy, controlling. I mean, he had got to the point that he didn't even trust me with my own blood brother. Now, how crazy is that? So a lot of the things that I'm talking about is I would, when I remember when me and Mike first got back together again, and I was telling Mike about these situations, and Mike said, I remember the first thing you said to me, like, you, Starr, I can picture you, letting somebody do you like that. Remember you told me that side, not you. I couldn't, fathom that. And at the time, I don't know what was going on in my mind that I didn't, other than maybe I didn't want my marriage to fail, and maybe I did love him, or embarrassment. That might have been what you were just saying in the tidbit about people being embarrassed. Maybe it was a combination of all that. I wouldn't say I was weak-minded, but I had something going on that I didn't feel like, I felt like I had to put up with it. Now, I didn't put up with it forever. I filed for divorce after 8 months of us being married. But I went through a whole lot in those 8 months before I finally hit the, I tap out, or I press the button and be like, you know what I'm saying? I can't continue to do this, because one or two things is going to happen at that point. A, somebody is going to jail, or B, somebody is going to die. Who was that going to be? Was it going to be him going to jail for killing me, or was it going to be me going to jail for killing him? And that's where the eye-opening came to me, because the straw that really broke the camel's back was on New Year going into 2014. Now, mind you, we got married in March of 2013. New Year going into 2014, I had invited family and friends over for a New Year party. And he accused me of trying to hook up with one of my gay friends that was here at the party. One of my gay friends. And that just did it for me. Like that just did it. I couldn't take it anymore. And I did not want to start my 2014 in that same craziness. And I was like, I can't do it anymore. And I told him that after everybody left, because he had pissed everybody off. And they wound up leaving. And I told him, I can't live like this, not one more day. And once that happened, of course, he really went ballistic, and pulled out a butcher knife out of my kitchen, out of my knife block, pulled a butcher knife on me and threatened to cut me with it if I even thought about leaving him. And I called the police then. He left. And when the police got to my house, the police told me that he asked me, he said, well, how long had you been with him before you got married? And I told him, I said, we was only together 6 months. And he wasn't judgmental, but he said, this guy has a rap sheet spanning for the last 10 years with nothing but assault on women, men, anybody. He's very violent. And ma'am, your best bet is to get out of this while you can. While you can. And that guy gave me numbers of victim hotline numbers, anything that I needed. If I needed shelter, if I couldn't continue to stay in the same house, whatever it was, they gave me the resources then. And that Monday, I didn't waste time. I did not waste time. I called that number. I talked to those people, and I got the resources. And I actually was able, because my income was not a lot at that time, I was able to get a divorce for free through legal aid. And they helped me through the whole process. And I was able to still be able talk about it to you all. And I'm not in a box, and I'm not 6 feet under, and I'm not in a jail because I had to protect myself. But I did have the sense enough to take that police advice. And when I had the chance to go, I left. And that, that would happen. But I just wanted to give y'all some interesting information. Intimate partner and domestic violence are major public health and criminal concerns in South Carolina. Now, this is where we live at. Me and my husband, my current husband, we live in South Carolina. But just in case if you didn't know this, South Carolina has an average of 36,000 assaults reported to law enforcement every year. Just in South Carolina. This is not worldwide. This is just in South Carolina. 36,000 assaults reported to law enforcement every year. In 2014, South Carolina was the state with the highest number of women killed by men, and has been in the top 10 states every year for the past 20 years. South Carolina. In 2017, report of 2015 deaths. Oh no, I'm reading this wrong. In 2017, report of 2015 deaths. South Carolina ranked number 5. The South Carolina homicide rate for women killed by men has been twice the national average. Just in South Carolina. Just in South Carolina. And it's scary to think that when they say that the deaths that occurred in 2014, South Carolina was the state with the highest number of women killed by men in 2014. That's the year I left and filed for divorce. That gives me cold chills, guys. Because if I hadn't left, I could have possibly been a part of that 2014 statistics. Serious business. It just gave me cold chills, like literally. 2014, if I hadn't left, got my divorce wasn't filed until February of 2015. But if I hadn't, I might not be sitting in this chair right now. I could be dead, or I could have been in prison.
It's just a blessing that you got out. You had enough sense to get out.
Yeah.
That is a blessing. Yeah. And guys, back to the article that I read on in the beginning of the show about the alcohol. And she was saying about he's a heavy drinker and all of that. Alcohol does play a vital part in violence when it comes to domestic violence, male on female or female on male. Because females, it's the same. I'm not, actually trying to take sides. It's not about taking sides. It's about getting to the root cause. And we trying to get to the root cause of this. I mean, ladies, sometimes when they drink, they can provoke you guys. I know. I get it. Ladies get mouthy. They get a little more nuts than they need, when they drink. But guys, you get violent too. That's why alcohol shouldn't be a factor in, especially when you're getting drunk. I'm not saying sociably, but when you're getting drunk and you got two people that's headstrong, and alcohol fuels that stuff. So if you got these problems, guys, maybe you shouldn't have alcohol in your relationship if you want to keep your relationship and if you want your relationship to stay healthy and strong, because alcohol does play a big part of it. Like I'm saying, not taking any sides, but male and female. When you come to domestic violence, and not just about male on female, it's about female on male. It's about both. That's what the studies show. It's either or, and it's very high on the African American, race than others. And, Hispanics, it's a close second, very close second. It's like 22 and 21. It's like right there in it. You know what I mean? So guys, you got to take a look at your relationships, man. I mean, and ladies, you've heard the things my wife's been saying. So if you're going through these things, I know, guys, you love the guy. Hey, I get it. I get it. But ask yourself this: is loving this guy worth your freedom or your life? I mean, that's what you got to ask yourself. I get it, guys. You may be embarrassed. I get it. You may have kids by the guy. You want the house with the white picket fence, the dog. You want the American dream. Guys, I get all of that. I want that stuff too. But you have to ask yourself, if it's not the right person, is it worth your life? Is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it just because you're embarrassed or just because you want it to work or you love him? Guys, you can love this person from a distance. I mean, just being real. I mean, you can love them from a distance because I feel that your health and well-being is a lot more than just love or being embarrassed. Hey, I'd be embarrassed. I wouldn't care what nobody say about me. I know I've been there, done that. Not with the physical abuse, but short-term relationships. You know, people stay in relationships long time, marriages long times because they're embarrassed, embarrassed. I mean, really, guys, you're that concerned about what people think that you're going to put your health, your life, your freedom at risk? I just, I don't get it, but I get it. You understand what I'm saying? I get where people are coming from because I can feel that. It's a very iffy thing, it's a very iffy thing, very iffy. But guys, the alcohol does plays a major part of it. And like I said, it works both ways. It works both ways because, you don't want a drunk female getting a little extra testosterone in herself because she got a little drinks in her and she coming provoking you. And if something happened, that person's the bad guy. Or that person's the bad guy. Guys, we just got to take time. We got to respect each other. We got to start trying to love each other, in your relationship. If not, separate, divorce, take time away. Do what you got to do, but you must protect yourself. That's male, female, it doesn't matter, but, a majority of the time we know it is male on female. So, females out there, you got to protect yourself. Don't worry about what people think. Because, hey, people are going to talk about you regardless. Regardless. They're going to say what they're going to say regardless. You got to do what's best for yourself. Regardless of the embarrassment. Regardless if this guy you so-called love going to prison or whatever. You didn't send him to prison. He sent himself to prison. You got to think about that. You're protecting yourself. You don't want to die, do you? So you got to think about this stuff, guys. Think about it. Think about it hard. Put that love on the back burner for a while to protect yourself. You got to do that. You got to do it. My wife has given you her story, how she was blessed to get out of it. It took her a while because like she said, no, she wasn't, closed-minded or everybody say, stupid or simple-minded or nothing like that. No, it's not about that, guys. It's not even about that. That's people on the outside looking in. She's giving you her story. And she's told you guys, she was in love with the guy. She didn't want her marriage to end. And what person does? What person does? I applaud her for wanting her marriage to work. I applaud her for wanting things to work, giving it a try. But I was just thinking, I'm just so thankful that she got out of that because I wouldn't be sitting here with her today, God forbid. Now, I'm not throwing anything out there. We're just saying possibly because that thing could have got real ugly. So I'm just glad that she was strong enough and brave enough to actually put her foot down and did what she had to do despite of, whatever. It's short term. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it was 6 days, bam, out of there. Guess what? And, if people want to talk, let them talk. I'm out of that. Simple. Yeah. You know what I mean? Simple. It doesn't matter. 6 months, 6 days. Get out of it, guys. Get out of it. I'm not going to sit here and say he put his hands on you one time, give him a pass, because the second time you may not be breathing. Mm-hmm. Everybody say, oh, come on now, just give him a chance. Yeah, that's a call you got to make. Mm-hmm. That's a call you got to make. Don't let nobody else tell you to give this person a second chance to kill you. You got away from him the first time. So now I'm supposed to give him a second chance to kill me. He didn't do it the first time, but this time it might happen. So guys, I'm telling you, use your judgment. Bump what other people say. Bump their advice if they haven't gone through it or they're not going through it. Some guy just trying to tell you what they think. Tell them what they can do with their thoughts because they're not the one waking up with choke marks around the neck, black eyes, busted noses. They're not the ones waking up like that. You are. Do they have the right to tell you what they think you should do? No. You use your own discretion. Now, if you know that you have a good guy, and ladies, now, I'm like I said, I'm not taking sides again, but if you know that you provoked this guy, and this guy has never done anything, you provoked it, the things went up too far. I'm not saying he beat you up, but probably a smack or whatever. And you know that's not that guy, and whatever, that probably would never happen again because both of you been drinking, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you give him a second try, hey, whatever, because sometimes, like I say now, guys, I get it. Ladies can be a little mouthy and provoking. I know that, especially when there's alcohol involved. But that's what I'm saying. Know your relationship. Know your tolerances. Can you drink? Can you socially drink? Can you drink with your wife? Can you drink with your friends? Can you drink with your husband? You got to ask yourself this stuff. How your husband act when he drink? How your wife acts when she drink? Yeah, it's a lot of stuff you got to, take into consideration. That's what we always say in all our shows when we were doing the relationship stuff. Back to, I forgot which one it was. It's been so many, guys. It's so many. Know your mate. Know who you're with. Know who you're with. Get to know your people. Court for a little while. We always told you, don't jump out there in the beginning. Just take your time. It's not a race. It's not just a sprint. It's a marathon. A relationship is a marathon. It takes time to build that successful relationship. In the beginning, it's all fun, hunky-dory, everybody laughing, hee, having fun, jumping out there, doing God knows what. But hey, you got to know the person you're with, know your relationship. Take time to know the person, and all these, hopefully, signs, these wonderful signs that my wonderful wife gave you, can give y'all guys some insight. If these things start happening, not saying everybody, because every case is different, but these are signs, and we have statistics to back it up. We have a living person here to back it up. So guys, hey, just stay woke, guys. Especially you ladies, stay woke, please, because too many of you guys are leaving here from domestic violence, guys. And these the mother of our children. So guys, ladies, please stay woke. Be observant, pay attention. Pay attention. Stop worrying about what people think. Take your health into consideration and your life and your freedom into consideration.
Another thing I like to say is the rate of domestic violence in younger people is higher than older people. So make sure that if you got teenage daughters between the ages of 18 and 24, the rise in that age group is very high right now. So be aware of your kids. Be aware of who they're around, who they're dating. I know we got this thing now. Oh, they grown when they're 18 and this and that and the other. But you don't know. They could be going through a situation that you're not aware of, especially if they have kids with the person that they're dating. We just told you about a tragic situation that could have been tragic. Let me take that back, because the young lady lived. They got shot in the chest 2 times in Applebee's. She wasn't but 24 years. I mean, she is 24 years old. I'm talking like she's gone, but she's not gone. Thank God she's not gone. But she was 24 years old. And this guy is also in his early 20s. I think he was like 21 or 22. So that goes on. They say that statistic, they say that it's higher than in older people. Yeah. So with that being said, hey, you got to be watching your children, watch your kids. Make sure that the people that they are around are trustworthy. Let them know they ain't got to be in a hurry to get in a relationship. They ain't got to be in no hurry to get babies. They ain't got to be in no hurry to do none of those things. You got all your life to be an adult. You only got a little bit of time to be a child. You ain't got but a little bit of time to be a child. You got all your life to be grown. All your life. So, I think that's one thing that, I really want to speak about was that. And another thing is touching on what my husband say, please take the time to get to know the people that you're dating, whether you're young or you're old. If you're new in a relationship, please take the time, because if I had took more than 6 months, I'm pretty sure that person's representative would have got tired of being a representative. If I had waited a year, I don't think he could have put up the charade longer than a year of his jealousy, of his control ways, of his wanting me to be isolated. He wasn't happy unless I was in the house doing nothing. If I wasn't in the house doing nothing, then he wasn't happy. He didn't even like me being on my phone because he was so insecure that I was texting or doing something on social media or something like that. So unless I was just sitting beside him looking at television, that's the only time he was happy and content. He didn't want me talking to my family. Didn't want me talking to my friends. Didn't even want my friends over here. That's what I'm saying. I mean, even at the house, that's how insecure he was. So these are just warning warning flares, just shooting up, you know. And sometimes we can be crazy, think, oh, he just loved me so much, he just want to be all up underneath of me. No. My husband, Mike, is a homebody. He's a homebody. But just because he's a homebody don't mean that he's gonna keep me in the house with him. If I want to go hang out, I could go hang out. If he wants to go hang out, he can go hang out. We're not gonna be calling each other every 10, 15 minutes. What you doing? Who you seeing? Where? You know, all this crazy stuff. You know, those are red flags. Those are red flags. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you because I went through it. But you do got to know your relationship. If that's how y'all operate, then hey, if that works for y'all, then that's work for y'all. As long as if it's not any violence related to it, if you got to check up on him all the time and he got to check up on you, if that works for your relationship, then hey, I'm not the one to tell you not to do that, but I'm just telling you that was a red flag for my first marriage. That was a red flag. And I missed that red flag in the first 6 months before we got married. I missed that. I missed that big time. And it started with him first accusing me of my best friend.
That's how it normally starts, man. With the accusatory and then the isolation and all that good stuff. That's pretty much the the standard steps that a lot of ladies said how their abusive relationship started. And you know, the verbal abuse, you know, you didn't talk much about that because he didn't do too much verbal abuse, but other ladies say the verbal abuse was a part of it too. And the alcohol, of course, you know. So these are steps. It's just not her saying this, guys. These are steps. These are statistics. Statistics. You know, these are statistics. And so we're hitting y'all with statistics and a live testimony on this stuff. So the statistics, I can't get that word out. But anyway, they are accurate. They are really accurate because, you know, we did our due diligence and we actually did the research. And what my wife is saying is pretty much spot on. That's how it starts, guys. You know, that's how it starts. So please, guys, please, ladies especially, please, you know, protect yourself. I'm not saying go out here and do dumb stuff, but I'm just saying by what I mean by protecting yourself, know who you're getting involved with. I had to say that slow just in case some of you didn't catch that. Know who you're getting involved with. I mean, just because, oh, yeah, he's fine. He's got a body. He looks good. He light skinned with good hair. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
And he's a nut.
And he's a freaking nutcase.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a nutcase. Because, see, I hate to say it. We are so vain. We are so vain. That's the things that, you know, men and females look for. They look good. They got a nice body. But they could be cuckoo as Cocoa Puffs. You wouldn't know because you didn't take the time. All you wanted to do was somebody fine or with a good job or nice car and all that. And the whole time, he could be one of them son of a guns came off a doggone Psycho.
Yeah, well, this topic right here is very difficult for me. But I will tell you all that I am on the other side of this. And just actually the first week of this month, I actually encountered my ex. And I was actually able to close a chapter in my life. Because before I actually saw him, I thought I saw somebody that looked like him, and it spooked me because I had not seen him in about 3 years. And so it spooked me, and it actually gave me heart palpitations and all kind of stuff. And I was at work, and I knew that he had an account where I worked at when we were dating. When we were married, and because he got the account when we were dating. But I didn't know if he still had the account until he actually came in my place of work and conducted some business. And I had told my husband, this is how funny how the universe works, but I had told my husband like a couple weeks before it happened that I thought I saw him and that I realized that I was still fearful and had not realized that I still had that fear. Because like I said, when I saw what I thought was him outside of the bank, I got heart palpitation. I thought I was going to have an anxiety attack. I mean, it was just full blown on not good. And that's when I realized that I still had not healed completely from that situation. And so I talked to Mike about it and everything, and Mike Mike has the most unorthodox way of dealing with stuff, but he has a effective way of dealing with stuff. It might not be what you would say is what, I don't even know how to say it right. Well, Mike told me that the next time you see him, if he says something to you, you should say, "You lucky I didn't put a bullet in your head." That's how Mike deal with stuff. But you know what? He said, because what you're doing is you still playing a victim, and you're not a victim. You know, I'm a survivor of this situation. I'm still living. I'm still able to talk about this. So me feeling that victim and re-feeling like a victim that day, and when he told me that, it really made sense, because I didn't think that I would encounter him. But I did. Like 2 weeks after that happened, I did. He actually came into my place of work. And when he came into my place of work, I kid you not, I thought I was going to be scared when I looked him in the eyes. But guess what? Instead of that fear, I got angry.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
I got angry.
Yes,
and that's
sir.
what my husband said. You need to turn that into anger.
That's right.
And not anger that I cussed him out on my job, because I ain't going to lose my job over no foolishness, especially he's not worth me losing my job over. But he came to my window and he said, "Hey, how you doing? And I heard that you got remarried and blah, blah, blah." And I just looked at him. And I'm telling you right now, guys, if looks could kill, like they always say, if looks could kill, I promise you, he would have been dead on the ground. Like, seriously, he would have dropped dead right there at my window. And I realized right then that I had the power to take back everything that he took from me. He took a lot of days that I was scared to sleep, because he had kicked my door in one time when we were separating. I had to call the law. He used to ride his car down my road to see who was at my house. This is during our separation. This is within 2014. So it still was not over. You know, he even threatened to not show up to go to court for the divorce. I mean, it still was not completely over. And when I realized that he still had a little bit of power over me, it was time for me to take that power back. And I had to, because now that he knows that I work at that bank, he's going to be there every month just because. 9 times out of 10, he's going to show up at that branch every month just because he knows I'm there. And I'm not running from anybody. I don't have no reason to run. I have no reason to fear. Now, I'm not a fool, so I did let my superiors know what was going on, just in case, because I don't trust him, and I shouldn't. So I did let them know that if he ever come up to me and it's something that I'll let him know. I mean, because I'm not gonna lose my job over it, you know. So I say that to say that that's my silver lining. I was able to close that chapter, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to worry about if he's going to be lurking in the shadows with all that crap. I'm not worried about that. I'm not. Because I am a winner. I'm a survivor. And I'm here to talk about it. And I'm hoping you all will take heed to what we were saying. If you are in a situation similar to what I talked about, then I'm going to tell you right now, you need to get out. You need to get out. There's no simple way of saying it other than get out. And I know some people may be in a harder situation to get out. It may not be that easy, especially if you financially bound by that person. That person may be the only breadwinner. You might be a stay-at-home mom and don't have the means to get out, and you might not see a way. You might not have nowhere to go. You might have to go in a shelter, or you might not even have any family to go to or call on, because you're by yourself with you and maybe your children. And I get that. I get that wholeheartedly. But you are more valuable to your kids and to yourself if you're still here. So I'm going to give you the National Domestic Violence Hotline number. And it says, get help today. The number is 1-800-799-7233. And if you're going through these situations, it's time out for not calling the police and making them do their job. I was very grateful because the cop that came out to my house on New Year's Day of 2014, he actually sat down with me, showed me this guy's rap sheet, and gave me all the information that I needed. Every cop out there is not a bad cop. There is some good ones out there. There really are. They really do care about the citizens. So I'm not going to say that they're not going to do any help, because if I say that, I'll be sitting here lying to you, because a good cop helped me. A good cop gave me the information that I needed to get out of my situation alive.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And guys, on that note, if you're in the Greenville area, in the upstate area, let me see, Greenville, Malden, Simpsonville, Fountain Inn, Spartanburg, Sparkle City. If you're in those areas, guys, ladies, if you're going through an abusive relationship, visit your local Quick Trip. Okay? I know you might think I'm crazy, but guys, Quick Trips in the upstate are refuges for battered women. Okay? Any Quick Trip store, any Quick Trip, any QT store in the upstate, ladies. If you need a place to stay, to hide out or whatever, these guys have a section in their stores that they will house you. They will call the police. They will get you a lawyer. They will do whatever they got to do to protect you. And if that guy comes to that Quick Trip, they have certain permissions from the city to protect these ladies. So I'm not saying what that is, because you can pretty much imagine by the tone of my voice. They are going to protect you. So ladies, if you're in the upstate, visit your local Quick Trip if you're going through any type of domestic violence situations.
All right, babe. So you got anything else you want to add?
No, that's about it, guys.
All right. So thanks again for tuning in to Lunch Talk with Mike and Starr. This was a very serious conversation. Part 1, part 2. Hopefully it touched someone, and we just pray for all our Lunch Talk family out there. All right, so hope y'all have a great Super Bowl weekend.
Go Chiefs, go Chiefs.
Thanks again. All right.
Peace.